This is Gordon Crow, creator and host of Mass Transit. We've been blessed to travel to 10 dioceses and film at more than 40 parishes, chapels, and stations, to include 2 cathedrals and a monastery. We've witnessed firsthand what many say is a priest shortage in America. We've also been blessed to meet dozens of faithful priests who give their all to serve God in ministering to His people. In this series, we share with you the stories of the journey of each of these men in discerning God's call to the priesthood. Each story is shared by the priest in their own words. This series is titled Vocation Stories and will be one of our weekly offerings on the Mass Transit YouTube channel. If you like Vocation Stories, please click the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and subscribe to be notified when a new episode is posted. My prayer is that these stories might inspire all who watch to ask, God, what do you want for me? The episode featuring the Tri-Parish Community in north central Idaho is, by far, the most watched episode on the Mass Transit YouTube channel. The pastor of the 3 parishes in one station is Father Paul Wander. Father Wander is not in the least bit flamboyant, demanding, or imposing. The youngest of 10 children, he is a humble servant of God who seems to be celebrating Mass or shepherding his flock in other ways 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm Father Paul Wander. I was born in Ontario, Oregon, but my parents were already living in Weiser, Idaho at that point for 10 years. Ontario's about 15 miles from Weiser, and there's a Catholic hospital there, so that's where I was born. My parents were Catholic. My dad was a cradle Catholic. My mom converted when she was like 15 years old. I have 9 siblings. There were 10 in the family. When my parents reached perfection, they stopped having children. In other words, I'm the last, I'm the youngest. Like I said, born and raised Catholic. We always went to Sunday Mass. We always went to the Holy Days. We went to daily Mass that we could during Lent and sometimes during Advent. Prayed the Rosary at home once a week during Lent and Advent. That's pretty much how we were raised in the church. My discernment process, how I became a priest. Growing up, of course, Catholic. In high school, I had a hard time with Jesus. I understood God the Father. I can understand a parent who loved me because my parents loved me. I could understand the Holy Spirit. Didn't know what He did, but He was part of God and flew around like a dove and did things. Jesus, on the other hand, I had trouble with because He died for my sins. Like all of us, I knew most of my sins. I knew my faults, that I wasn't perfect. Could someone love me enough to die for me? Him loving somebody else, anyone else to die for, that made perfect sense. Could He love me enough? I don't know if I loved myself enough. So I had a really hard time with Jesus. And I was actually planning on leaving the church as soon as I got out of high school. Couldn't before I got out of high school because Dad said, as long as you live here, you go to church. But I figured when I get to college, I would leave. And then my senior year of high school, I went on a youth encounter in Twin Falls, Idaho, southern Idaho. And there I encountered Christ. And I realized on that retreat how much Jesus does, in fact, love me. And I've never doubted that since then. So then when I got to college, I stayed involved in the church up at the University of Idaho, St. Augustine's Parish. I just got more and more involved in the parish life up there. And about my 3rd semester, partway through 3rd semester, the priest gave a homily saying, paraphrasing President Kennedy, what can you do for God? How can you give back to God what God had given to you? Well, what had God given me? He had given me life, had given me a family that loved me, parents that loved me, education, health. How do I give all that back to God? And my answer was, become a priest. A lot of other people answer that question by getting married and devoting their love to one particular person and then their families. My answer was to become a priest. So then I called my mom and dad up, told them I needed to come talk to them. So drove down to Weezer the next weekend, told them to sit down because I was going to shock them. And told them I thought God was asking me to become a priest. Their answer, what took you so long? We knew 6 months ago he was asking you that. They could have saved me 6 months of soul searching. Next step is talk to the vocation director, which I did. And he said I could either go to Mount Angel Seminary to finish my college degree, or I could finish it at university. And he recommended staying at the university because I'd get a more rounded education. And I agreed with him. So I stayed up in Moscow. I did shift my degree. I started off in chemical engineering. Figured I didn't need that, so then I shifted over to accounting because long way to becoming a priest. What if I don't make it? At my dad's suggestion. So I said, okay, what else? I'm good at math, so I can earn a living as an accountant. So then I transferred over to accounting, which has been very useful because I can always tell, I can read the church parish financial statements and understand it. Graduated in '85 from university and went to Mount Angel Seminary. Did 1 year of pre-theology there, studying basic philosophy because you didn't get too much of that in secular education. And then went into 4 years of theology. That's basically my vocation.
We were all created for a purpose far greater than comfort or success. The Lord has a unique mission for your life. Whether He is calling you to the holy vocation of marriage, the sacred priesthood, or the consecrated life, do not be afraid to ask Him, Lord, what do you desire for me?